Hey everyone, welcome back to OET Rapid Test, and this time we are going with listening skills. So in this particular video, we people will be displaying the questions first, followed by the audio will be played. So what you people can do is answer the questions while we are playing the audio and let us know the correct answers in the comment box.
In today's edition of Australian Health Journal, we bring you news of new drugs added to the PBS. By the time this show is broadcast, the Australian Federal Government has added 3 new drugs to the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme. These changes bring significant savings to patients being treated for multiple myeloma, cystic fibrosis, ALK-positive non-small cell lung cancer. More details on these changes and the drugs to treat these conditions can be found on our Facebook site. In other news, last year's Australian H3N2 strain of influenza have reached the UK, with predictions it could trigger the worst flu outbreak in 50 years. UK authorities, such as Simon Stevens from the NHS, are bracing for similar strain on the hospital systems as those faced by Australia. At least 170,000 cases were recorded in Australia, twice as many as in 2016, leading to over 700 people having died due to this particular strain. First to Dr. Jason Pace, a practicing Sydney psychiatrist since 2003. Over the past 4 years, Dr. Pace has been focused on transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS as it's known, for the treatment of depression. TMS technology has been studied for over 20 years and is now available to the Australian public.
I hope you people must have answered all the questions by this time. Now just delve into the explanation part. The very first question was, what is the main topic discussed in the broadcast? Option A says, new medical technologies introduced in Australia. Option B was, updates on the pharmaceutical benefit schemes. And option C says, research on influenza outbreaks in Australia. Now just see the extract. In the audio extract, they said that in today's edition of Australian Health Journal, we bring you news of new drugs added to the list. By the time this show is broadcast, the Australian federal government has added 3 new drugs to the pharmaceutical benefit scheme. So from this explanation or from this particular audio, we people can analyze or identify that they are talking about the 3 new drugs added into the PBS system. So our option will be the right option, I would say, that is updates on the pharmaceutical benefit scheme. Now let's move on to the second question. The second question was, what is the benefit of the changes made to the PBS? And the options were significant cost savings for patients, improved access to the hospitals, faster approval of experimental drugs. In the audio extract, they say a particular line which says, these changes bring significant savings to the patients being treated for multiple health conditions. So there they say the keyword significant savings. That shows the right answer will be significant cost savings for patients. They are not talking about the access to the hospitals and faster approval of any kind of experimental drugs. So the right answer is option A, which says significant cost savings for the patients. Now let's see the third question, which says which condition will benefit from the new drugs added to the PBS. So basically they are talking about which all are the conditions that are added into the PBS system. And the options were option A, asthma, bronchitis and pneumonia. Option B, cystic fibrosis, multiple myeloma and ALK positive lung cancer. Option C, influenza, arthritis and cardiovascular diseases. And in the audio extract, they mention about the disease conditions like multiple myeloma, cystic fibrosis and ALK positive lung cancer. So that is kind of a direct question. So you people can easily identify the right answer, that is option B, cystic fibrosis, multiple myeloma and ALK positive lung cancer. Now let's see the fourth question. The question was, what concern is raised about the H3N2 strain of influenza? And the options were option A, it could cause the worst flu outbreak in the UK in 50 years. Option B, it is resistant to all available treatments. Option C, it has led to global shortages of flu vaccines. And in the audio extract, they say a particular line, which says, in other news, last year's Australian H3N2 strain of influenza have reached the UK with predictions it could trigger the worst flu outbreak in 50 years. So what they say is this particular influenza strain can cause a worst flu outbreak in the next 50 years. So they are giving a hint that the next 50 years. So that will make us to identify the right option, option A, that says it could cause the worst flu outbreak in the next 50 years. Now let's see the fifth question. That says, what concern do UK authorities have regarding the H3N2 strain of influenza? Option A, it strains resistance to current vaccines. Option B, a lack of proper diagnosis method for the strain. And option C, its potential to overwhelm hospital systems similar to Australia. And in the audio extract, they say a particular line, which says, UK authorities such as Simon Stephen from the NHS are bracing for similar strain on the hospital system as those faced by Australia. So bracing themselves means they are preparing themselves to face the same thing that happened in the Australia. So what they say is they are expecting the same consequence that happened in the Australia in UK as well, which says the right answer is potential to overwhelm hospital systems similar to Australia. Now let's see the next question. That is question number 6. What does the comparison between Australia and the UK highlight about the H3N2 strain? Option A, the severity of the strain is unique to Australia due to climate differences. Option B, the UK has developed better preventive measures. Option C, Australia recorded twice as many cases compared to 2016, which serves as a warning for the UK. And in the audio extract, they say that at least 170,000 cases were recorded in Australia, which is twice as many as 2016. So what they say is, when compared to the 2016 number, the cases were twice than the earlier number. So that shows the right answer, that is option 3, Australia recorded twice as many cases compared to 2016, which serves as a warning for the UK. And that is the current concern as well. Now let's see the question number 7. What is the reference to 700 people having died significant in the context of broadcast? Option A, it shows the high fatality rate of H3N2 strain in Australia. Option B, it indicates the failure of Australia's vaccination program. Option C, it emphasizes the importance of improving hospital infrastructure. And in this particular extract, they say that at least 170,000 cases were recorded in Australia, twice as many as in 2016, leading to over 700 people having died to this particular strain, which means that shows the high fatality rate of this particular H3N2 strain. That shows the right answer. It shows the high fatality rate of H3N2 strain in Australia. Now, let's move on to the last question for today's video. And the question says, What does the mention of TMS technology suggest about its development? So you have to identify the question specifically asking about the development of TMS technology. So option A says it has recently been introduced for clinical trials in Australia. That shows the recent introduction of clinical trial. Option B says it has been researched for over 20 years and is now publicly accessible, which shows that they have been researching on this particular topic for the last 20 years. And the option C says it remains an experimental therapy with limited applications. So all the options sounds almost similar because they are talking about the developmental stages of this TMS technology, which they have made deliberately to make you people confused. So what you have to do is identify the key point or the right option from the particular audio. And towards the end of the audio, you could see a particular or you could hear a particular line which shows TMS technology has been studied for over 20 years and is now available to the Australian public, which shows that they have been studying on this particular topic for the last 20 years. That shows the right answer. Option B, it has been researched for over 20 years and is now publicly accessible. That was the end of our OET Rapid Test for listening. I hope this is a useful video where you can assess your own listening skills all by yourself. So for more interesting videos like this, follow all the socials of Tijus Academy. Orappanu Vijayam.